Gracie's Corner.
There's a new cartoon.
All right, friends. I hope you're ready. Because today we're going to count to 50.
That focuses on education.
Put the sounds together, now we're reading words. A says apple.
Positive messages.
I love my hair.
And great songs.
Baby rub the boat, ay. Baby rub the boat, ay.
The videos reaching millions on YouTube.
Ay, mommy rub the boat,
Today we are sitting down with the parents behind Gracie's Corner, and I know you're probably already smiling. I'm your Real Talk, Real Solutions host, Ginger Gatz, and this is producer Tiffany Brown. We're so happy you all are with us today. I'm joined now by Graceyn Hollingsworth and Dr. Arlene Gordon-Hollingsworth. They are the brainchild behind Gracie's Corner. Thank you so much for not only being here, but creating something so special. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, the first question everyone wants to know, what is the saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. How did Gracie's Corner come to be?
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that one because it started pretty much at the height of the pandemic where I was a college professor teaching organic chemistry, but because of the situation with the lockdown, I was teaching from home. My kids were also learning from home because of the whole situation as well. So everyone was spending more time with each other, willingly or unwillingly. And because of that, I was watching a lot of the content that they were watching, and yeah, it just stood out to me like, man, the content out there is great or whatnot, but I still think it's important for kids to be able to see themselves in the characters. I think it has an impact on their self-confidence and just having a sense of belonging in society, realizing that they matter just as much as anyone else.
You talked a lot about representation, a sense of belonging. It's such an incredible image that you're bringing to the table, one that I haven't seen. I remember being a child. But there's also not just Gracie in this cartoon. There's a breadth of characters. There's mom, there's dad, there's grandma, there's siblings. Why did you think that was so important to bring in everybody?
For me, in a lot of media now, it's always perpetuating this certain stereotype about families, particularly families of color. So it was one of those things where I really wanted to make sure that we showed a full family unit where there's mom, dad, grandparents, everyone is active and fully intact. And, that is a great representation too for other people to see.
Yeah, it really is. And I love that you say that because there is this stereotype of there's always the single mom who might be a little angry or the single dad who's, always struggling. And so to bring this family unit together and show people, I love there's an episode where you all are around I think it's Thanksgiving, and you're talking about being thankful and there's family. And it is so meaningful. And that's what a lot of families look like that. And so when you see that and people recognize that, oh, that's like my family, how do you guys feel when people know that it's you behind Gracie's Corner and they are so appreciative of the work? Because you have millions of views today, several million for me since I discovered you.
And my daughter, as she requests it daily.
It is just so awesome to see all the love and all the support. And when we first decided to do this, we had this vision of what we wanted to present. And it's so amazing to see that we actually are meeting the goals we set out to meet with having this positive representation, allowing kids to see themselves and see families that look like our family, and, it's a common thing that unfortunately is not always highlighted.
It's got such positive messages. It talks about loving your hair.
Kinky, curly, cute. I love down to my roots. My hair, sweet like lemonade. I love my hair and braids. My hair, royal down to my socks. So in love with my locks. My hair, can never get enough. I love my afro puffs. My hair.
it talks about all kind of great things, positive affirmations, like I'm excellent, like I'm like smart, things like that. And it's really teaching them to be smart. But it's also a lot of hard work, I can imagine. Tell me what goes into it for the two of you and also for Gracie.
Oh, it was interesting. You mentioned like the positive affirmations. I credit this one for that whole concept because, of course, she's a psychologist. And one of the things she told me was like, a lot of our children don't receive those positive words of affirmation, especially relative to their counterparts. So you can probably speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some research that shows like the importance of hearing those positive words over you being reinforced. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes and I'm a psychologist by training, sometimes we as parents, we are corrective, and it's because we want the best for our children, but kind of speaking to the importance of also really speaking those positive words like you're beautiful, you're smart, great job.
Look in the mirror and who do I see? E-I-O. Someone that's beautiful staring at me. E-I-O. A smile so bright with sun-kissed skin. E-I-O. This love I have, it starts from within. Hey, hey.
And so you hear that kind of sprinkled through it because of me being this child psychologist that really, sees how important that is, in the individuals I work with every day, the children I work with every day, the families I work with every day.
Oh, we're sitting up here. We both have tears in our eyes because I'm from a generation where as a child, I would put and I'm going to date myself, I would put my mom's half slip on my head, and that would be my silky hair. And so to see Gracie with her Afro puffs, with the braids and her natural hair is just, as an adult person, I didn't know I needed that. Right? And so it's so important to see that. And I just imagine what children years ago, if they had that, what they might have become and believed in themselves. When did you guys know that it was something people needed? Because it's one thing to create something and put it out there. When did you know, oh my goodness?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Like I believed in it from the start. But as far as like YouTube goes, it was very hard for it to. It was very hard to see that moment where you realize, like, okay, this really is it. Like, in fact, the first 7 or 8 months, like, I remember like very slow, almost like a flat line. And I'm very fortunate that this woman here didn't kill me in the process, just because, you're putting money into this, you believing in it, knowing that you're trying to address something that really needs attention. And earlier this year, that's when we kind of just saw it just rocket, and it's just been taken off since. So it's really cool to see that parents as well as the kids are appreciating this, seeing families even jamming together to the music and whatnot. Like that's one of the coolest things. Yeah, so that's what
I have to tell you.
I was just going to say the music, they can only jam to something that is jammable, if that's a word.
Yes, it's got a great beat. It covers a lot of different genres. The reason that I discovered you, honestly, was because an adult sent me the link, because he may or may not be somebody who works here, but he was jamming to it at home, and I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
And automatically, I was like, I have to put this on for my 3-year-old, and she started dancing. It just makes you want to dance.
Yeah,
it's
and
so good.
Tell us where the music comes from.
Yeah, so I know I told you guys I was a chemistry professor, but honestly, I'm a musician turned scientist / professor. Now recently turned back musician, and with the beats and whatnot, it's a combination of myself as well as collaborators that I work with as far as like producers. But the songs themselves, I write those, and of course, I have my in-house critics that kind of give me feedback, like, "Oh yeah, that sounds really good." And even Gracie, Gracie plays a big part in that too, because I'll write something out, and then while we're working on it, she may say, "Dad, I think this may, I think we should say this, or I think this may sound better if I do this." And I try to nurture that. Like, I want her to always feel involved and be creative, because I never want her to feel like she doesn't have a voice in the whole creation. So I don't know. It's been really cool to get back to music, but do it in a way where I'm having this opportunity to work with my daughter, and then the stuff that we're creating is having a positive impact.
Oh
She
wow.
loves singing too. Yeah, she's our singer. She's been singing forever, you know. And so early on, I was like, when he said he wanted to do this, I was like, she loves to sing. She'd be perfect. And she started singing for the channel when she was 7, and so that's how young she was. And it's been amazing because she enjoys it, she loves it, and she will tell people it's her channel. It really is. Like, this is her hard work, and yeah, and definitely cool to see the creativity of these two. It's amazing to see, you know, all the final products.
And can I just say kudos to you? I remember working with my dad, and I hope it's something that you guys do for years and years to come so generations can enjoy this kind of content. But I know that that's going to be something that matters to her and sets her up realizing that she can do it, as the Counting to 50 song would go. Tell me, how do you guys come up with this kind of content? Like, I know some of them like Row the Boat, or even like Mary Had a Little Lamb, or a remix on Baby Shark, but like, what's your creative planning look like?
Like, for me, I try to expose kids to like all the different genres out there. Like, yeah, we can do hip hop really well, we can do whatever, but like, I want them to realize, like, you know, everything that's out there. So with it, I may have an idea or a concept for a nice beat that I think would be really cool. And then as far as like the words themselves, I usually try to pull from some of the classic stuff, but put our own little fun spin to it. And then, like, for instance, the bingo one, some of the songs too kind of speaks to the places that we live. So we used to live in Baton Rouge. In fact, this is where we met during graduate school at LSU in Baton Rouge. And the bingo song, it has like that whole New Orleans second line feel.
There was a kid who had a dog, and Bingo was his name. B-I-N-G-O, and Bingo was his name.
So that was something I really wanted to pull in for that song, and, you know, other aspects too. Like, so this it's always a nice little mix. So people never really know what we're gonna throw at them, and so it's really cool to see that excitement from people when, like, oh, a new Gracie video or song has just been released, and people not really knowing what's gonna be presented.
We love to make sure that, you know, in it there's opportunities to learn. Some of it, of course, is to get people up and dancing, and so we'll have discussions creatively, like, you know, about how to move creatively, what direction to go. You know, a mixture of some learning content, as well as just wanting families to have fun together with some of the old nursery rhymes. And he doesn't give himself enough credit. Like, he's a person who's so musically talented, in my opinion. Like, anything he hears, he will literally write to it. And so definitely what you hear is, being married to someone for 12 years, I didn't realize that I was married to like a musical genius until like this past year. And I was like, wow, I didn't know this, you know. Chemistry professor, obviously taught organic chemistry, which is difficult for most people.
Right.
I knew that about him, but I'm blown away by how talented he is musically.
Oh, well, that's a nice surprise for you to discover, right? This other hidden talent. That's great. And talk to me a little bit about, we talked a little bit about this off the air, but you guys don't just give them the small tasks to handle. Some of the things are a little, you wouldn't think to have a child a certain age count to 50. There was one where you talked about how many dimes make a dollar, how many, nickels make a quarter.
How many nickels make a dollar? 20. How many nickels make a dollar? 20. Count all the money, money, count all the money, money, count all the money, money, count it up.
And I was like, Oh my gosh, it just blew me away. And I know repetition has a lot to do with that, but what was it that you saw or thought that would let you know that these kids, they can handle it? They can handle it.
Yeah, one thing I learned is that these little kids are like sponges. Like, we tend to underestimate them because of their age. Like, oh yeah, how would they know that? But when you put certain things in front of them, they will soak that up and then can actually spit it right back out at you. But what we're trying to do is make sure that the stuff that they're bringing in and spitting out is something that's actually going to be helpful as far as their self-confidence and their knowledge.
It has been such a joy to take in your creativity while I'm driving my little one to school. I was talking to her teacher thinking I was on to something new. Apparently the teachers are hip to what you guys are doing. She was like, oh, Gracie's Corner. Yes, I'll be using that as a part of the curriculum next year. So I was like, oh, good. And this is for, again, 3-year-olds. So it was exciting to see that they were going to be incorporating that into education as well. Have you guys been receiving similar feedback to that?
The feedback has been, so fantastic from, everyone. And we've had families that have emailed us telling us they have a child, for instance, who has autism, and our songs and videos have really helped their child learn. Like, that kind of feedback is why we do what we do, and it's so great to hear these families letting us know how what we're doing is helping their children, whether it be teaching them how to count or making them realize how special and how beautiful they are.
Yeah. Are you guys already thinking about the next thing? And I know it's probably, maybe it's too early, but I would imagine that this has blown up so much that maybe all of your time is spent doing this. But have you already started thinking about the next thing?
Yes. So for us, the next thing is, and that's where a lot of outside attention have come into as well, is creating a long form version of Gracie's Corner where you actually get to know the character herself. Because like right now, we do the songs and videos and whatnot, but it's like whatever concept is being discussed is kind of like the focal point. But with the long form version, now you'll get a chance to learn more about Gracie, learn more about her dad, her mom, her grandparents, the whole nine. So just building out that storyline, I think, was going to be like the next phase for this whole Gracie's Corner thing.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm excited. I can't wait. If you need someone for voice work, please consider the people here in Orlando, particularly myself. Honestly, that's going to be so much fun. When I think about you guys, I think, Sesame Street started with just a couple of characters. And, other things started in a smaller platform, and they're huge now. So I expect nothing short of just worldwide success for Gracie's Corner. Yes, that's incredible. So I'm glad that I asked that question, because I didn't want to seem like, well, enough about Gracie's Corner, what's next? But an expanded version of that. So that's really fantastic. It gives people something to look forward to. How can people find you guys right now? The two people who don't know who haven't seen Gracie's Corner, how can they find you guys?
So we're on YouTube as well as on YouTube Kids. You can just type in Gracie's Corner and it will pop up there. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
We also have a website too that will connect you, to YouTube and other, places where you can learn more about us. And it's www.graciescornertv.com.
Perfect.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough for your time, and I can't thank you enough for your talent and the message that it is sending, not just to little girls, but to big girls as well, and children. So thank you so much for doing what you do, because I know it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love, and it shows. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, we did it! Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of Real Talk, Real Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.